Welcome to the Raynin Threes podcast with Alan Ray and Mike O'Connell.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to the latest edition of Raynin Threes. I am your host, Mike O'Connell, here with Villanova basketball legend Alan Ray. Hey, Ray, how we feeling this evening?
OC, what up? Chilling like always. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. But I'm doing good. Not a lot of Nova news, but we still gonna talk.
Yeah, man, we're gonna chop it up. We got some good things to get to. Like we said, the last few episodes, Ray, we've had a lot to digest, a lot to go over, a lot of breaking news, headline type stuff when it comes to Villanova basketball, which has been unbelievable, right? I mean, it's given us so much content, and I think overall, though, to be perfectly honest with you, Ray, it gives me confidence, right? I get even now. I was already so much more excited that we had this show together, that we were able to chop it up, talk Villanova basketball, talk Big East hoops. But now that we have this stacked like pancakes type of roster that we've gone over, man, I can't wait. We have less than 150 days until college basketball starts. We're gonna have, I mean, how many weeks is that, right? That's a lot of episodes before we actually get into the nitty gritty of Big East hoops. Villanova playing against American on opening night, so a lot to get to, a lot of time before we actually are gonna see our guys in blue and white suit up and play. But it's an exciting time to be a Villanova basketball fan, Ray.
I'm feeling spoiled. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I do feel spoiled. I feel a little spoiled. I feel great. I feel like we got an edge right now with our team. I'm feeling really good. So I'm expecting big things going into next year. Like you said, it's a lot to look forward to next year. So I'm ready.
Yeah, let's bring it on, man.
It's just like the wait right now, just waiting for to even preseason or something. Just like, oh, the team is in the gym right now together working out, like just something. It's just that part of the year right now. It sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, so officially finally came out that, I mean, we knew about it beforehand, about Justin McClellan from Clemson replacing Shaq Fit as the strength and conditioning coach.
You broke that news.
Yeah, I had the scoop, man. So I was able to break that news to the Nova Nation, and it was made official a couple days ago. So everyone was arguing, oh, what are we going to call this guy? Are we going to call him Mac Fit, Mick Fit? What are we going to call him? I'm like, let's just call him J Mac. We'll stick with J Mac. That's what I think he went by on Twitter or something like that. So we'll go with J Mac when we refer to Justin McClellan.
Mac Fit. That's funny.
Yeah. It's just like, let this guy have a chance to develop his own thing, dude. It doesn't need to be all about Shaq Fit, but he's going to do a great job. I'm sure the guys are excited to get to work with Justin, and he like we talked about when we first broke the news. He did spend a year under Shaq back in 2014-15, so he's familiar with the program. He knows what's going on in the halls of the Davis Center. So that'll be good. A couple more things to keep your eye on, Villanova basketball fans, is the recruitment for the class of 2024, right? So Caleb Williams from Sidwell Friends School in D.C. We know a couple Sidwell Friends guys have been very good in the program. Sadiq Bey,
for sure.
One of the guys. So keep an eye on him. We're in his final 7. This kid is 6'7", 215 pounds. He's a legit player, and he actually I saw him play a little bit in his last game, and he led the team in scoring. I think he finished with 24 points, and really was able to just take over. So I'm very impressed with him from the little that I have seen. I'm going to start to pay more attention now that we're on his list of final 7 schools. So
Nova loves those 6'7" guys.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Love those guys.
Nice little wing action.
Mm-hmm.
So he's between it's Nova, Michigan, Indiana, Syracuse, Georgetown, UVA, and Miami.
Mm.
So you got to think we got a decent chance to land this kid, right, Ray?
For sure. We definitely gonna be in his finals with Miami because we the big NIL schools now. We one of the big NIL schools now. So like I said, I'm feeling spoiled. We should be in his top 4 by the time his decision comes. You know,
Oh,
we're just there now.
yeah.
We're we're in that conversation, like we said before. We're in that conversation when it comes to NIL, and that's real big now in college basketball.
Oh, it's
Can't
massive.
deny it. Can't deny
Oh,
it.
there's no way around it, Ray. That's what you have to be if you want to be able to compete for these top flight talents, and that's what Caleb Williams is, not to be confused with the USC quarterback, same name,
Hmm.
but hopefully will make a name for himself. We'll see if it ends up being Nova, because that would be an incredible get for Coach Neptune and the guys. Another guy to keep your eye on, Christian Bliss, 6'4", 205 pounds, out of the George School in Pennsylvania. We are actually already on his Final Four list, Alan. It's us, Miami, UVA, and Xavier. So that's right. We got the coin, and so does Miami, Virginia, and Xavier, other very respectable basketball programs. And if that's what it's going to take to get these kids, so be it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just good that again we're on his Final Four list. That means that we're doing our thing, like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. The program is moving in the right direction. Like that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for. Like is the like where's the program headed? And we're moving in the right direction. We did good in the portal. Now let's see how we do with the recruits, with the high school kids. Let's see how can we get in the mix with those guys and like see if we can get a top guy like a Cooper Flag. You know, a Cooper Flag coming to Villanova. That would be insane.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
so let's see how we do with the recruits going forward. We seen what
Right.
we did the transporter. Let's see how we do with the recruits.
Right. And it's a little bit of a different game. It's not the same as a transfer portal combat type of mentality. These kids are younger, maybe a little bit easier to make an impression on, but
Yeah,
it still comes down to that money
yeah,
and guaranteeing some playing time. So it just a couple things for us to keep our eyes on. I know the transfer portal activity is pretty much all but over with, especially when it comes to Villanova. Some other Big East news we'll get to a little bit later on. But hey, Ray, I mean it's a legitimate. I wouldn't say issue, but we don't have a lot of recruits coming in as of now, right? So you look at
yeah,
Jordan Dumont, we have him coming in for next year. He's an exciting player. I think he's I think he very much fits the Villanova mold, but at the same time, is he going to redshirt? Like, we don't
yeah.
know what his status is and whether he really has a role to play in next season's lineup and that kind of thing. So,
He
hey,
definitely could. I could see him redshirting, especially with the additions that we made this year. There's a lot of guys in his position. Unless he has an incredible offseason or incredible preseason where it's like it's a no-brainer to play him, you could see him redshirting, this year. I wouldn't be too surprised about it, But I want to piggyback on something you said. We was talking about like Cooper Flag.
yeah,
Like I'm thinking about a kid like Cooper Flag, right? High school kid.
hmm
You can look at him and tell like he's ready. Like he's ready. He can go into a college program and play right away. So a guy like him has so much more value over a lot of other recruits that's coming in. So it's like you got to take a different approach to try to get a kid like that. Cause like he's bringing it's not like back in the days where you could get high school kids that you could get a handful of these guys that's ready to come in and play. But nowadays it's not like that. And you got the portal. So it's making it harder for high school kids to come in right away and play. But a guy like Cooper Flag, I don't care who you got on your team, he's ready to play right away.
hmm
Like how do you go about recruiting a kid like that? Like what do you have to do to bring in that type of caliber player in today's landscape? Like that's a
yeah.
question I have I can't even really answer. I mean, I
Ah,
obviously know the money plays a part, obviously,
yeah.
but
Yep.
still, there's a lot more.
You're right. And I think I have maybe a part of the answer to that question, Ray. And that is win, right? Success
True.
on the court.
Yeah.
Get your name, cut down the nets early in a Thanksgiving weekend tournament that's all over ESPN. Be a Final Four team, win your conference tournament, things like that, where you're getting national coverage and you're really building that brand of basketball that I think Villanova has done such a great job of. Now going from a team that was maybe a bit of like a sleeper type program, like when you guys were in the Elite Eight back in your day, playing against Florida. I mean, that was a legit team, 09, but it was still like that kind of underdog type of Villanova mentality that really the program has had for most of its existence, right? You go back to the 85 team, being the 8 seed, Rolly Massimino, the family Italian type of vibe that team gave off, being the biggest upset in championship game history. That I feel like rode out Villanova basketball and what the national media, what people thought of was that the underdog, right?
Hmm.
I would say even in 2016, Ray, we had no respect. We couldn't get out of the first weekend to save our lives.
Hmm.
Even against Iowa in the second round. I remember I was at that game at the Barclays Center. People were picking Iowa. No one thought we had a chance to get out of the first weekend again. And I remember a quote from Adam Shine, who's actually a Sirius XM guy. He said, "Jay Wright couldn't find the Sweet 16 with a map and a navigation system," is what he said. And at that time, he was a big personality on CBS Sports. So
Uh-huh.
a lot of eyeballs were on that. A lot of people thought Villanova, they can't get it done. They're choke artists. They win a lot in the regular season, but I'm not riding with them. They're going to lose. And every single round going from the second round on, Sweet 16 against Miami, everyone was picking Miami. Elite Eight against Kansas, everyone was on Kansas. Final Four against Oklahoma, everyone was on Oklahoma. Championship game against UNC, Carolina all the way. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable, Ray. And I feel like it took 2018 to really show that, okay, at that point, we were by far and away the best team in the country, in my humble opinion. We were blowing everybody out. That West Virginia gave us the best run. It was like an old school Big East game with Javon Carter and that kid Kanate from
Yeah.
West Virginia. That was a great game. But hey Ray, it what we had in back when you were playing 2016, I've like changed a little bit in 2018 because we're so dominant, right?
Mhm.
36 win team, bunch of pros on the roster. We just were ripping through everybody. It was never a contest, even when we played Michigan in the final. Now we're kind of like, are we a blue blood, right? People are actually giving some respect in terms of like, all right, look at at least the recent success the last few decades. Villanova's at the top of that list no matter what. So to go back to answer your question, Ray, is the brand of basketball that Villanova is playing has played under Jay Wright. Can that continue? And I feel like Coach Neptune and the staff has now really put their foot down and said, all right, we're making sure we right the ship here and this culture that we have continues. It's going to be a lot more tough to continue that culture with all these new guys coming in. But at the same time, we're still making national media headlines. We're still the talk of the town when it comes to college basketball because of that transfer portal, because it's Villanova. And I think kids are seeing that, whether it be young kids, like not even in high school yet, or recruits that want to play, be like, hey, I want to go play with Villanova across my chest, B's up on the main line, everything that goes along with being a Wildcat, I think is now at the top of people's minds when it comes to recruits.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we do a good job of separating those that's here for the money grab, you know? So just to piggyback on what we was talking about, I think that's especially with the high school kids, that's the one thing. The ones like a Cooper Flag, I'm not saying like he's like this, but he could do this. He can go to any school he wanted to go to. And let's say I wanted to make $1 million before I jump to the NBA. That could be his goal and not to win. So we just gotta be able to separate those type of guys and those type of players. You got to get the guys who want to win here. So it's gonna be definitely interesting. But like you said, I think the 2018 team really put a stamp on Villanova culture. They really did. Let's look at a team like North Carolina that we played in '05. They wound up having, I don't know, Raymond Felton, Sean May, Rashard McCants, I think Marvin Williams was on that team. Like all these guys went to the NBA. And that's what a lot of those blue blood teams was doing back then. North Carolina, they every year they would send a whole shipment of guys to the NBA.
Right.
And in 2018, that kind of happened for Villanova with Mikal, Jalen, Dante, with all these guys going to the NBA. I think that really put a stamp on Villanova culture and really was like, okay, like we're here now. And then Coach Wright going to the Final Four 2 years ago. Also, it just kind of reiterated that it wasn't a mistake saying that
Right.
we're a blue blood or a great team. I don't even know if I want to be called a blue blood, honestly, because it's like if I don't know why they hesitate to call us a blue blood. It's like you don't want us to be a blue blood, but if you don't want it, that's cool. We won't take it, but we're still up there competing with those teams.
Right.
But sometimes I be thinking about that blue blood title. Like, who cares anymore?
Yeah. No, and that's what UConn fans are clamoring for now. They want to be considered a blue blood too. And honestly,
what don't UConn want? Like, what don't they fans want?
Everything, man. Everything. Oh my goodness. No, they love going at us, man. But no, I have respect for UConn's program, and I think they have every right to say, hey, we've been one of the best programs last few decades. Throw us in that blue blood conversation as well. So
for sure.
Hopefully they don't go to the Big 12. I don't think that they are. That was a bit of a I would say just like people clamoring about that possibility. I'm still hopeful that it doesn't happen, but who knows? Something to keep your eye on as well. But Ray, you brought up a good point when it comes to that Final Four run 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Kansas, Duke, Carolina, then us. So it was like, oh my goodness, like look at this. And everyone's like, oh, this is so boring. It's all like the best programs. Like there's no Cinderellas, no nothing. So it's like, okay. And then look at this past season, right? Mm-hmm. It's UConn, it's San Diego State, it's FAU, and Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at those programs and you're like, oh, what is this? This is so boring. No one knows who any of these people are.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, I think San Diego State is a very underrated program. I mean, Kawhi Leonard went there. Steve Fisher was a great coach there for many decades. I think that's a legitimate program that never really made a deep run in March when they had some really good teams. Miami, another Jim Larrañaga-led team. I mean, that's a legit program. Larrañaga was at George Mason when they made their incredible run as an 11 seed to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And FAU, yeah, that's a Cinderella story. They were fun to watch. They're going to be, I think, a top 5, top 10 caliber team next season. So I don't understand. It's just funny because you can't make everybody happy ever, right?
Ever.
It's just insane.
Yeah, like you said, like you can't. No matter what happens, somebody's going to complain about something. So nobody's ever going to be happy. So
right.
It's like you said.
I mean, honestly, the only thing I was looking for, to be honest with you, like in that Final Four, was some close games, and we got one really good game, right? We got the San Diego State FAU game, which was incredible. It took the buzzer beater in the final seconds. That was awesome, and that was I think one of the most exciting games in March Madness period, not just last year's tournament, but.
I'm all for the smaller teams being good, being better. I mean, I think it's good for basketball. Like, just look at college football, and I'm not coming at college football, but those teams at the top, like, you just know they're gonna win. You know who's gonna win. You know who's gonna be in the playoffs at the end of the year. Like, that gets boring after a while. Like, you can't even bet on those games. You know what I'm saying?
Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, every year.
Yeah,
same crew.
So it was good to see a lot of these teams get knocked off this year. They didn't bring it. Like they just didn't bring it. They overlooked their opponent. They saw that this was a team.
Mm-hmm.
They probably didn't even know where the team was from, what state they was from. Yeah, they overlooked them, and
Fairleigh
they,
Dickinson.
yeah, and you see what happened. I think that's great for the game moving forward. Like guys got to play harder now. It's not just the top teams that are competing against each other. Like the smaller teams are competing with the top teams now. I think that's great for basketball.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it's really fun, I guess, to see what happens in March when it comes to these Cinderella stories. But I honestly think when it comes to not being prepared in March starts really early, right? And
Mhm.
I think the non-conference schedule is such a huge part of a team's success down the line in March when you're playing in your conference tournament consecutive days in a row, when you're playing 2 games in 3 nights against teams where you don't even have time to really even scout for or prepare
Yeah.
for or really get any sort of film breakdown on other than maybe a few hours before the game or after you just had advanced from the first round, from the Sweet 16, whatever it may be. So non-conference, it's something we're going to talk about, something that I'm going to talk about as long as we're doing this show, Ray. I really think it's completely underrated when it comes to preparing your team for success in the latter stages of the season. This upcoming year, Ray, we have some really awesome non-conference matchups that include a Battle for Atlantis tournament appearance for back there. Once again, hopefully to cut down the nets for not the second, but the third time. Only us and Baylor have won the Battle for Atlantis twice. So
Jesus.
that's pretty solid, right? Pretty elite company there.
Super solid.
So we're looking forward to that. And then also, hey, Ray, home against Maryland at the Finneran Pavilion. That's a Big Ten matchup. The Gavitt games, that'll be a lot of fun. Going against Kevin Willard, the former Seton Hall head coach, that we honestly did a very good job of beating when it came down to that.
Sure did.
I think he's 6-19 against Villanova in his career. I mean, that's pretty good numbers wise coming from the blue and white. So
I'll take that matchup.
yeah. Then at UCLA, we had a great battle with them a couple of years ago, if you remember, in the Final Four season. It was like an 11 o'clock start on a Friday night in November. I remember that. I got together with a bunch of Villanova people. We watched at a bar in New York City. It was a great atmosphere. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was a ton of fun.
That was a good game. Yeah, that was a really good game.
I think that was an overtime game.
Yeah, I think so too. We came back.
Yep, exactly right.
Came back.
So, and then to top it off, Kansas State, who actually just landed former Creighton player Arthur Kaluma. So that actually adds a little extra juice to that matchup as well. Love playing the Big 12, other Power 6 conferences is always fun to mix it up with. I mean, when was the last time we played Kansas State? Jeez.
Yeah,
it's been a while. Battle of the Wildcats, Ray.
But like you said, non-conference schedule is important just to be able to get to see different styles out there that year. You know, I think we play against Kansas State. That's a Big 12 team. We got Big 10 with Maryland, UCLA. So we get to see these different styles of play because this is what you're going to see come tournament time. So it's good to get kind of familiar with it in the beginning of the season because once you get into conference play, you know, it's straight Biggies, war. You're not going to see, you're just going to see physical every night, you know, Biggies basketball, but beginning of the year, non-conference, you get to see those different styles. So I agree with you on that. I think that's really good. And if it was me, I would try to make sure I get to see at least the top conferences like twice. You know, maybe like want to see 2 Big 12 teams. You want to see 2 Big 10 teams. You know, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to go through the big the Battle for Atlantis, I should say, that field. I mean, that one. We're gonna play other Power 6 conference. Like it's gonna be great. I mean, listen to this lineup. It is Nova, North Carolina, Michigan, Arkansas, Memphis, Oklahoma, Stanford, and Northern Iowa. I mean, That's
Yeah,
loaded. That's
yeah.
loaded with great programs, some of which are going to have really good years this upcoming season, some of which maybe not.
I like the
Some,
SEC too.
yeah.
SEC is on the rise. I like SEC.
Oh,
Not just they good in football, but they getting a little better in basketball.
no doubt,
I like
especially
SEC.
Arkansas, right? With
Yeah.
Coach Eric Musselman. Wouldn't
Mhm.
that be fun to see those guys? I think they're a very gritty, physical, hard-nosed team that would be a ton of fun to go up against. And it's just, I can't stress this enough, A-Ray, with how important these non-conference matchups are going to be. Because even if we lose, right?
Mhm.
Even if we get the crap kicked out of us, I think we're still going to get something positive out of it.
For sure. A lot of those teams they have athleticism too that we don't see in the Big East. So that's
Right.
another thing. Like that's what I mean. Like that's all good. Like what you said is great to get to play against these teams non-conference. So a lot of these, especially these Southeast teams, they be super athletic at every single position.
Oh yeah.
So it's good to go up against that and see what that style of basketball is like and get familiar with it. Because then the NCAA tournament come, you remember like, oh yeah, I remember we played against these guys. Like this worked, this didn't work. So it's a long season, but it's a lot that goes into a lot of detail that you need to pay attention to.
Yes, sir. And it starts day one, starts game one.
Mhm.
Any opportunity you can get to get better and have this exposure to these type of programs, type of teams, type of coaching staffs that are big brands that are well run. And it's, I mean, how fun would it be though, right? Look, I mean, look, you go down the list of the teams that are in that field in the battle for Atlantis, right? Memphis. When was I can't remember the last time we played Memphis. I mean, they're going to be a good team next year. Michigan, we have had plenty of history with them, and North Carolina, obviously. Arkansas, Oklahoma. I look at the Oklahoma game back in 2016. They kicked the crap out of us. 78-55 was the final score of that game. We played on the battleship.
Why Michigan always want to get beat up by us? Like they just like that
Hey,
little brother. Just go ahead. Just take. We already beat you up. Like just stay over there. Like
hey,
leave us alone.
Hey Ray, I know we've gotten the better of them when it comes to the tournament, but I remember going to the Finneran Pavilion. My first game, I was a junior at the time. We were ranked because we were coming off the championship my sophomore year. It was the first game at the Finneran Pavilion, big time matchup with Michigan, and they smoked us, man. They crushed us, beat us up and down. They mopped the floor. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I think we've scored 46 points that game. Ended up losing by almost, I think it was damn near 30 points, Ray. So I can't really smack talk Michigan too much. We did get them when it mattered most, though, that's one of my unfortunate core memories going to going to the Finneran Pavilion for the first time for a game at least.
All
Hoops
right.
Nation was fun there, but that was a thrashing.
All right. To be fair, going into that Michigan game when we went to the final for a few years ago,
Yep,
everybody kind of just counted us out. They didn't think that we was gonna win that game.
Hunter
And it
Dickinson.
yeah, and it was very nerve-wracking because we didn't like even not just the analysts, but our own fan base kind of thought we was gonna lose that game. They was nervous. We had we played against Ohio State. Was it Ohio State first?
Yep.
So it was two Big Ten teams back to back. Hunter Dickinson, everybody was nervous, and we went out there and did what we had to do. So yeah.
No, that was an awesome little stretch there. We had beaten Ohio State and Michigan back-to-back games. But if I remember everyone was picking Tennessee to beat Michigan and then beat us. They were the 3 seed. Everyone was saying they got underseeded. That was a great game. Michigan won that one in the second round. But
Did we play Tennessee that year earlier?
2 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago, did we? I remember playing Baylor and
Mhm.
playing UCLA were our
UCLA, yeah.
two big tests when it
Maybe it
comes
wasn't
to
Tennessee.
non-conference. Now I'll double check that for you because you might be right. I remember we had another good game against a legitimate program.
Yeah, it was like a top 25 team.
Um,
One thing about that year, man, it was so like up and down. Like we played UCLA, played great but lost.
Right.
And you seen the greatness in the team, but we just never could really get over that hump until like the end of the year when when Colin started exploding, hitting big shots for us, and then Mano start going. Once Mano start going at the end of the year, and he just started giving us everything. And I think that's what helped us get to that Final Four, for sure. But
So
it wasn't all smooth and steady during the year.
that's for sure. But that goes back to what I was saying about the non-conference, A-Ray. You were correct. We
Mhm.
beat Tennessee when they were ranked 17th, when we played at the Mohegan Sun
Yeah.
Hall of Fame tip-off championship. That was actually a lot of fun. I remember that, except it was a little too quick. We only played 2 games rather than 3. We
Mhm.
beat Tennessee 71-53, so we waxed them.
Yeah.
And then we lost to Purdue, who was ranked 6th at the time. We were ranked 5th. So there's a little top 6 matchup there
And we
in
gave that game
November.
away.
Oh, yeah.
We
Oh,
gave
yeah.
Purdue away. We gave that game away.
We had it won just about, and
Uh-huh.
we just completely choked. But hey, I think that was a learning experience, right? End of
Yeah.
game situations. You can't turn the ball over. You can't just run an offense with no plan. You can't just run out the clock and not worry about getting a bucket or getting to the free throw line. So learning experience. That was a great win against Tennessee. I actually remember exactly where I was. I was at Hoboken with some of my buddies watching that game, and we were
Nice.
fired up. But then the Purdue loss was tough. I still think about that one. Then A-Ray, the Baylor game I mentioned, they were number 2 in the country,
Yeah.
right? They were the defending national champs, and they destroyed us. They shut us down. We
Destroyed.
scored 36 points. I mean, are you kidding me? When was the last time that happened? So 57-36 was the final on that one. Brutal.
Destroyed. So for me, that was rock bottom of that year. Like
Yeah.
that was rock bottom. We
Well, no,
played.
then we came the next game. We lost to
Oh
Creighton by
yeah.
20.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I remember everybody was like, okay, they was panicking. This season is over with. This team
Yeah.
sucks. I remember that after Creighton.
Yep.
Oh man,
Unbelievable.
I remember watching a Baylor game and I was just like, damn. Like I was just so disappointed because I felt like we played good against Purdue,
Mhm.
but we just gave that game away. Played good against Tennessee. I'm like, all right, we played good against UCLA, but we gave it away. Like, we're gonna get it against Baylor. No, we didn't. They killed us, and then we lost to Creighton. And I remember that was just like the rock bottom portion of the
Yeah.
year, and it was a tough time. So let me ask you, what do you think was the rock bottom moment for this year?
This year, ooh,
Yeah.
I mean, there might have been a couple. Early on, that Temple loss, I thought was a huge gut punch because I was just like, "Oh my goodness, are we like,
Is
is
this
this
serious? Is
is this
this real
real?
right
Yeah,
now?
is this really happening? We're
We just
losing one
lost
of
to
the 5
Temple.
game." That was an early one, but for me, rock bottom was after we lost to Oregon
Mhm.
because we had just lost. That was the 4th game in a row. The Michigan State game. Shout out our producer Nick McGow, Michigan State guy. Spartian. They beat us. We had a ferocious comeback. I thought we were actually going to win the game. We had the ball with a chance to tie or win it. We didn't score. We lost by 2 at Michigan State. That was a tough loss, but I was like, all right, we showed a lot of fight.
Yeah.
Next weekend was Thanksgiving weekend. Iowa State, Portland, Oregon, all 3 losses. Iowa State was brutal. We had a couple. We gave that game away. We had
Was
a couple.
that PKI?
Yes, that was the Phil Knight tournament. Exactly.
We didn't win a game in that tournament, did we?
No,
Right? Yeah.
no.
That was like after that tournament for me, that was like, damn. I'm like, we can't be that bad.
Right.
Like we didn't win a game in that tournament. Yeah.
Losing to DePaul was definitely up there uh,
Yeah.
in terms of rock bottom moments. But I don't know. I mean, just last season, I think a lot to learn from it. Definitely can kind of temper our expectations a little bit. But we're feeling good now, right? Hey, Ray, come on. We don't want to harp on the negatives of the past as much. I know we were doing a lot of hyping up some fond memories
Like
of
look how
non-conference games, but
look how gloomy things just got.
yeah, we just like
just talking about
yeah.
that last year. Like
Oh,
that's how bad it was last year. And
so
that's
brutal.
no disrespect to nobody, none of the
Oh
players or
no.
anything. It's just it was a bad season overall, just for the program, for everybody. Like nothing just went our way. It was ugly.
Oh, absolutely. And just funny because the 2016-2018 seasons we talked about 2 years ago, went to the Final Four. But just to hammer home my point about the non-conference games and how important they are. Think about the Gonzaga game we played, the Jimmy V Classic in 2018. That was a legitimate Gonzaga team. They were number 10 in the country. Everyone was talking about that being a preview for a possible Final Four type matchup. We went in the battle for Atlantis. We swept through that. Unfortunately, I think Arizona, I think Purdue was in that tournament, and they both lost really early, so we didn't get to see them. But just being in those types of situations, being in those type of environments that are gonna fire everybody up for some November college hoops pays dividends for down the road come March. And couple games that come to mind. Playing Virginia, we had a home and home with Virginia. We had a home and home with Kansas. Those games were just completely electric in November and December, and it elevates everybody's game, everybody's level of intensity goes through the roof after playing a couple teams like Maryland Eastern Shore or IUPUI. Some of these not as exciting matchups where we're favored by 36 and a half points, something like
You
that.
definitely get fired up for those teams.
So, hey, it's a really important aspect of the season, and I'm just so fired up that Coach Neptune, that Mark Jackson, everybody involved with the scheduling got it together. We're playing some really good programs, UCLA, Kansas State, Maryland. We're going to run into some great teams in the battle for Atlantis, and I am just so fired up to get really pumped up for those matchups in early season play, November and December, Ray.
Yeah, Mark Jackson got to be feeling good right now. He got to be sitting at home feeling good about where the basketball is looking compared to how it was last year. There was a lot of questions. Nobody had the answers. And we got some answers this offseason.
Here we are.
Mark Jackson, salute to you and the whole staff up there. You guys did a great job this year. I definitely got to shout y'all guys out.
Absolutely.
I have to. I've been shouting my man Randy out, but I got to shout you guys out too. Mark Jackson and the athletic staff. Yeah, guys did good.
Yes, sir. Hey, Ray.
Because Mike could not handle another year like last year. I promise you, he couldn't.
Oh, my goodness, man. Come on now. So, hey, Ray. Big East, like you talked about before, going to be an absolute war. Going to be battles night in, night out, brawls, street fights, however you want to put it. That's the reality. I'm going to give you a ranking. I know everyone has been doing this. We're going to do this anyways, and we're going to probably change it by the time the month is over. By the time the summer is over, it might look different. But I think right now this is probably similar to what it might look like come opening night of the season. All right. So I'm going to give it to you.
Is this Chat GPT?
This is not Chat GPT. This is just, right. I did some research. I was looking around. I was seeing, comparing it to last year's standings, everything like that. So this is like a little bit of what I think it could look like when it comes to the preseason Big East rankings. All right.
All right. So this is not Chat GPT. So everybody know.
Not Chat GPT.
Been a lot of that going around. A lot of Chat GPT lists. All right,
yes.
Let's go.
All right. So, Ray, number 1, Marquette. Number 2, UConn. 3, Creighton. 4, Villanova. 5, Xavier. Number 6, Providence. Number 7, St. John's. Number 8, Seton Hall. Number 9, Butler. Number 10, Georgetown. And number 11, DePaul. Your thoughts?
What you think about switching Xavier and Creighton?
Oh, really? So you like Xavier to jump us and then Creighton to fall back. All right.
I just feel like Creighton lost a lot. Kaluma's gone. They got Trey coming back. Nembhard is gone.
Nembhard and Kaluma are big time losses. That's fair.
So I don't know. I gotta see what Creighton is made of this year. I'll see if they make any other moves. But I wouldn't really put Creighton up so high right away.
Okay.
In the beginning. But I like everything else on that list, but I wouldn't put Creighton that high. That's the only thing. And with Villanova, they gotta earn it. We had a great offseason for sure, but we gotta earn it. They had us preseason ranked, what, 16 last year? Maybe 15 or 16 to start the season?
Yes. In terms of I think we were 18th.
Yeah. So, I felt like that was a little premature when they gave us that ranking, and you see what happened with that. So I don't care about none of that. I don't care if we're last place on people's lists. Like, that's better for me. I don't want these guys thinking it's going to be a cakewalk because we had a great offseason, so we're going to go in and just beat everybody. Like, that can't be the attitude going forward.
Right. No, I agree with you, man.
Yeah, but I like Marquette up there. You guys know I like Coach Smart. I just like his coaching, so I'm always going to have him up there, and the way his teams play for him. So I like that. UConn, obviously they won a national championship. They still got some guys there. They got a pretty good bench. I like Klingon. He's a mobile big. That's why I like him. I think he's a little bit more mobile than Zach Edey or Zach Edey.
Edey,
I think he's a little bit more mobile than him, so I like him. And then you got Alex. How you say his name? Caravan. I don't want to mess it up because UConn fans are gonna come for me. So I don't want to mess his name up. I like him. I'm letting you know I like him. He's a good player. So I like UConn, and you had Creighton at 3. Switch that with Xavier.
Creighton at 3. You put Xavier at 3 and Creighton at 5.
Providence.
Okay.
Providence still got some guys coming back there, so I think they'll still be pretty competitive in the league.
And then UConn also, they just got Rutgers transfer Cam Spencer, so that's a huge get for them.
Yeah,
really solid guy to kind of fill the hole of some of their best guys leaving and going to the NBA with Hawkins and Jackson. So that's a big addition. People, I feel like this is almost slept on that Posh Alexander is now at Butler. I'm excited to see the Butler Johns game. I think that will be a ton of fun. I could see Posh just going crazy and dropping 30 against his former team.
I see you got Georgetown still at the bottom. Even with the coaching change and the moves they've been making in the portal, why you feel like they still gonna be at the bottom? Or is it they gotta earn it kind of thing?
It's a combination of both. I would say I think that their ceiling has certainly risen, but I don't know if their floor has really changed too much, Ray. I think they still might be a year away of getting fully indoctrinated with the Ed Cooley system, with him being at the helm of things in DC. So I'm not gonna award them anything just based on getting a new head coach, a new regime, because aside from that, I mean, they got that kid Thomas Sorber that I wanted Villanova to get, but they didn't do too much. So I still think they gotta earn it. That's my perspective on the Hoyas.
I'm with you on that. They gotta earn it. Cooley's a good coach, good recruiter, but they gotta earn it.
Yeah, and definitely props to Kim English at Providence, man. I think he's done a pretty good job at steadying the ship and not really missing too much of a beat after what I thought was was completely criminal, a criminal move by Ed Cooley, Benedict Arnold type of move from him. But hey, I love it in a weird way because it's great for the conference, right? It just completely just flips the script, and now Georgetown, along with St. John's, who are great program brand type names, are in one word back in a way, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Kim English does. This is the Big East, so Kyle Neptune learned his lesson last year, but I'm not comparing it to because Kim got more experience. Kyle's a first time
right
head coach, but the Big East can be brutal to you. It can be brutal.
Yeah, he actually had a really good career playing at Missouri. Did Kim English. So yeah, best of luck to him. He's done a great job thus far. I know a bunch of my buddies are big time Providence fans. So they're part of Friar Nation. They've been blowing up my phone saying, when are you guys going to start talking more Friar hoops? And I said, hey, we'll get to it. We'll get plenty of looks at the rest of the Big East, not just Villanova. So it's that was a great little preview of what's to come. We're going to break it down further as we get closer to the season, but I think right now it's a pretty solid snapshot of what to expect in the 2023-24 season. Am I right, Alan?
Yeah, and I can't wait for these preseason, or not even when we get closer to the season, these rankings, team rankings, player rankings, and everything like that. Just be able to start talking about all that stuff. That's when the season is right around the corner. So
yes, sir.
really looking forward to that. But we got the wait right now. We got the off season wait that is great for a player, but it sucks for fans.
Exactly. No doubt about that. So, Ray, some news coming out of the NBA Finals that was actually directly Villanova basketball related was when Paolo Banchero asked our guy Kyle Lowry what his all-time Villanova starting five would be. I'm gonna just name the list really quick that he gave out to the media the other day. He named himself, Randy Foye, Mikal Bridges, Tim Thomas, and Ed Pinckney as his all-time starting five. Ray, your thoughts?
I like Tim Thomas on there. I wish he would have asked Chat GPT because my name probably would have ended up on there.
Yes, sir.
But it's all right, Kyle. We still good. We still friends. I knew he was going to throw his name in there. Honestly, when it comes to point guards, it's Kyle or Brunson. Like there's no one else to choose. Tim Thomas was interesting to me. Did he have Kittles on there?
No.
See, yeah, Tim Thomas was interesting to me.
1 year guy.
Yeah, he was a one and done. But Tim Thomas, obviously, everybody knows how good he was. So that spot would either be Tim Thomas for me, or it would be Kerry Kittles. I might have went with Kerry Kittles on there. Ed Pinckney, that was another name on there. I like that. I definitely have Coach Pinckney up there, and not just because he's from the Bronx, but I just feel like when you think of Villanova tradition, Villanova culture, you think of that championship, like you see Coach Pinckney, and he's just a figure for Villanova. You got to have him up there, and they won that championship. And he's a great player too. Went to the NBA, had a great career. So I like that. Randy. So when it comes to like these lists, Randy, I never really see Randy name up there a lot with like some of the greatest players. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people didn't really get to see him play, especially like the younger generation. But Randy definitely was in a class of his own when it came to athleticism, strength, and just like pure skill level. Like he was unbelievable, and a lot of people didn't really get to see that. We got to see that close up in person every single day. Great leader. So I feel like that's why Cal put him up there. Some people might argue that, but I could see him being up there. I'm not sure anybody else. I mean, I guess you could say Josh Hart with him,
Yeah. Okay.
or
Okay.
Randy and Josh Hart. So I swear, man, you could make like 3 top all-time Villanova teams.
Yes.
Like you really
Yes.
can. And
Oh,
all everybody be legit players, man. Maybe we should ask that. We should throw that on Twitter and see what everybody's saying. Like their top 3 teams.
maybe we could do like a draft or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put like a pool of 25 of the best Villanova players of all time. All of us could draft a team and see what the fans think in terms of who would win and that kind of thing. I think that'd be a ton of fun. But
Oh yeah, let's do that.
um, hey Ray, I love where your head is at. I'm gonna give you my. I have two. I'm kind of a bit of a cop out here, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I don't want to. I want to give respect to the older generation of the classic teams of pre Jay Wright era,
Let's
and
do it.
I'm gonna go Bill Melchione,
Mhm.
Kerry Kittles, Paul Arizin,
Mhm.
Howard Porter, and Ed Pinckney. That is a classic starting five of some OG Villanova basketball greats. All of those guys had legit careers of 4 years, and just they were beasts, man. These guys like pitching Paul Arizin. The guy played in the 40s, man. Like that is OG.
It is. What about what you guys say to the Chris Ford fans?
Hey, he's up there. You could definitely make the argument. I'm also leaving out some people on the '85 team,
For sure.
aside from Pickney. You know, Gary McLean, Dwayne McLean, Harold Presley. Those guys. You know, you got
It's
to.
just so many.
Yeah.
It's so many.
So my Jay Wright era starting five. This was tough because I literally made 3 teams, like you said, A-Ray. I have Brunson at the point.
Okay.
I have my guy right here, Nathaniel Ray
I'll take that.
at shooting guard.
I will take that.
I got Josh Hart at the 3, Mikal Bridges at the 4, and Dante Cunningham at the 5. So a little small ball, but I think that's on brand for Villanova.
You got me in front of Dante. I don't mind coming off the bench for Dante. I don't mind coming off the bench for Dante.
No, I'm saying Dante Cunningham.
No, oh, okay. I was talking about DiVincenzo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew what you thought I said, but no.
All right.
And then next team, Randy Foy, Scotty Reynolds, Corey Stokes, Eric Pascal, Daniel Ochefu. I also had Corey Fisher, Colin. Well, this is not even really a team here. Gillespie, Archdiacono, Corey Fisher, then Darren Hilliard and Javon Pinkston. Just some of the greatest names in the Jay Wright era, man. Just a lot of fond memories watching all these dudes play.
No, we got to do like you say. We got to get a pool of names. We got to come up with like our top 25 or top 50, like really thought out list. Throw them in a pool and have people make their like teams. And
I love that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, we'll get down to it. I'll start getting cooking on that ASAP because that'll be a ton of fun, and it's something really fun to do in the off season, right? When there's not a ton of content to be discussed. I feel like we did a great job of covering what we needed to in terms of what's going on with the portal over the last few weeks. But
low key, our fans are like smart as hell though, so they're gonna really put together some really good lists, and there's a lot of guys that seen some of the older guys play. So I'm really interested to see where our fans rank some of our players and what teams they got them on. I think it'll be dope.
Yeah, guys like James Bell. I mean, just like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Watching these guys play. Tony Chenault was a guy we mentioned a few episodes ago that people forget about. Omari Spellman, a one and done guy. Well, actually, he redshirted because he was ineligible to play his freshman year. Tim Thomas was a one and done guy as well. So we'll continue to get into the nitty gritty of an all time starting 5 versus an all time top 5 or top 10, things like that. So We're gonna have a ton of fun with that, and we're gonna really get the fans, get the Twitter folks involved by getting their opinions directly, whether it be on Twitter polls, drafts, things of that nature that allow you guys to really have your own voice and opinion.
Yep.
So
Just what OC said.
So, hey, Ray, to wrap things up, my friend, got a couple good Twitter questions.
Let's do it.
This is from one of my good buddies from my time at Villanova. He was actually a senior when I was a freshman, so it was pretty cool getting to know his buddies, his class of 2017 when I was a freshman. So this is from my guy
young.
Jack Yarnall. And at Yarn for All. Any concerns about the roster's 3-point shooting? Besides Bamba, the newest additions and the current roster, outside of Dixon and Housen, all are below 35% from long distance.
That's a good question, and it's a good observation. I feel like I wouldn't be so concerned. I'm gonna tell you why. And it's not because I'm biased. All right. Like, this is just how I look at it.
Okay.
Now, unless a team is playing zone on us, which they don't play so much in the Big East or in college basketball, I can see in the zone us sticking to shooting a lot of twos, getting inside, playing with Dixon, and getting in the paint that way, and them kind of sitting on the 3-point line. But if they're not doing that, if they're playing one-on-one and Dixon, if he's going, like, you got to send the double team because we know he can score 30 points. J-Mo, if he's going, like, you got to shade him. You got to put 2 players. You got to try to get the ball out of his hand. So when you do that, when you send in an extra player to help, like, somebody's always open. And Tyler Burton didn't have the best 3-point percentage. But if you look at his workload, you know, he was taking a lot of shots. I guess I'm sure a lot of his shots were contested, a lot of contested threes. Probably didn't get a lot of open threes when he's playing at Richmond. So I feel like this year might be that year where he'll get a couple of easy looks, and his 3-point percentage has an opportunity to go up because he will have these open looks. I feel the same with Hakeem Hart as well. Another person, not a high 3-point percentage, but can shoot the ball. And with the way our guys can get other people open and shift the defense, I think our 3-point shooting will be a lot better than it looks like on paper right now.
Yeah, A-Ray, well said, because I think everyone needed a little bit of reassurance after looking at some of the stats.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. I always think there's too many weapons, too many options on the floor at all times from long distance. And, you know, our motto, shoot them up, sleep in the streets. That's not going to change. And I think I really think it's everyone playing off of each other, like you mentioned. That is going to pay dividends when it comes to creating open looks, getting everybody's confidence up, and allowing everybody to get their fair share of shots and opportunities to knock those shots down. So I'm fully confident in us being one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country next year, and having that win us games, a lot of games
For sure.
when it comes to that.
And can't forget about the player development too. You know, these guys are going to be working on that all day, every day in practice. So I feel good about it. And it's part of Villanova's system, is what they do, is their offense. So I look forward to seeing these guys knock down shots.
No doubt. And it's great to see some of the work that TJ Bamba was putting in. I keep seeing clips of this guy grinding his you-know-what off.
You're on a mission.
In the gym. He is, right? I mean,
he's on a mission. He is.
He's looking like a Villanova basketball stud right now. So I'm excited to see him. And everybody that's saying that he's not going to be in the starting 5 to start the year, shame on you, because I'm telling you, this kid is special, and he's got his heart in the right place. and he's just been hitting the gym hard.
I mean, could you imagine that? Like not starting somebody who scored 36 points in a game? Seriously.
That's what I'm saying, man. But hey, we talked about it, A-Ray. It's a good problem to have. It really is.
It is.
So shout out to my guy, Jack Yarnall. Appreciate all the support I've been getting from the older Villanova guys that were a part of my life while I was on campus and finding my way early on in my career. My 4 years, not much of a career, but
Yeah.
my 4 years at Villanova. I wish it was a career, but not what I was up to. Next question for you, A-Ray. This is from Ramon Yascotti on Twitter. Every year here on in, more so with NIL and portal, Coach Neptune will be judged by how he can get the mercenaries to play Nova basketball. Will they buy into good, better, best shot, or shoot it up looking for stats? If we make the Final Four, rising tide elevates all ships.
No, I agree with you. That last sentence, rising tides elevate all ships. I feel like with the experience that these guys have, it's a I want to win atmosphere. And you hear Bamba talk about it, you hear Hart talk about it. They want to go play in the NBA, and they felt like Villanova was a perfect place to come to help them get there. Teach you how to play. You see how our pros are playing now in the league. Look at these guys. 2 guys in the championship right now. We were all over the playoffs this year with Mikal, with the Knicks. So we have the formula, and I really do believe that these guys will buy in. I don't think that there's going to be any, how can I say it, problems trying to build chemistry, none of that stuff. Like these guys are on a mission. Bamba's in the gym. You see him working on, like, that was great to see him working on jump stops, pivots, shots. Like that's what we do at Villanova. Just to see him do that, that was great. So I'm not really concerned. I think these guys are all going to be on the same level. They all have the same goal in mind. Why would you come to Villanova if that's not what's on your mind? I'm pretty sure that was in the recruiting pitch, so they understand what they want coming in and how we're going to win and why we want to win and how we're going to do it. So that's my answer.
Hey Ray, I think you just answered your own question from earlier in the show. Do you remember what it was? Well, what it's going to take to attract these young recruits?
Yeah.
Just perfectly said. Like what did it take to attract Bamba and Hart that want to go play in the NBA? And go look at what our guys are doing in the association, right?
That's why you smiling like that.
Yes, because you answered your own question right there, man. You're like, I don't know if I have the answer I gave. I think part of it, but I think you just completely nailed it right on the head when it comes to what is going to sell a guy to come to your program. And that is, oh my gosh, I want to go play in the NBA like the rest of these Villanova guys are. And they're not just playing well. I mean, they're taking over games, whether it be Brunson, whether it be Bridges. Lowry is getting older, but he's still having such a major impact on these most important games of the season in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And Josh Hart, all these Villanova type guys, they're not, no disrespect to Cam Whitmore and Amari Spellman, a one and done type of guy that they knew were NBA ready as soon as they graduated high school. Those guys are great for their own reasons, but they were certainly helped by Villanova and the ability to produce legitimate background. Like just you're gonna use every single aspect of what's available to you in the Villanova basketball program to get better and develop your game in ways that you couldn't even think of as a high school kid. So you just answered the question. I'm so glad we were able to come full circle there. And I mean, wow, what a great time this has been, A-Ray, just chopping it up like this for the last hour.
Yeah. And like you said, I didn't even realize that, but it does make a lot of sense what I said. But yeah,
Yes.
I didn't. But that definitely is a great pitch. And it's the truth. I mean, you see Jalen Brunson, you see what he's doing with the Knicks, coming in there, like literally taking over that squad and making them a better team. Adding Josh Hart there, he's a superstar in his own. Even off the court, you see he's all over the place, everywhere. His face is everywhere. Like he's a Nova guy. Like that just doesn't go unnoticed. You see what Mikal Bridges did when he got to Brooklyn, compared to how he was playing with the Phoenix Suns. So Kyle Lowry in the finals now. Collins not playing, but it's so funny because like Denver is such a big Colin is such a big part of what Denver do. Like Colin is all over Denver's like social media and stuff like that. He's so active, so
Oh, yeah.
engaged. So it's great to see that as well. Like Villanova's just in your face everywhere this year, and I love it. And it's definitely great for recruiting. Like it is, like you said.
Yeah, Coach Spoelstra of the Heat is talking up our guys in the Knicks, saying how Brunson should have been on the All NBA and All Star. It doesn't get better than that, and I think it's just the beginning of what we're going to see from the Wildcats in the NBA, especially guys like Brunson that are still, if you think about it, Ray, really young
For sure.
and they have a lot to do when it comes to getting better, developing their game, and really putting on a show when it comes to seasons to come. So New York is no longer Julius Randle's team. That's Jalen Brunson's team, first and foremost.
Sure is.
So, oh, my goodness.
No JR, it's JB.
Yeah, yes, sir. You know it, my friend. So, hey, Ray, man, that was a blast. A lot more to get to moving forward. We touched on a lot of great things. We have a plan now in terms of getting this all-time starting five argument sorted out. We're going to take to Twitter. We're going to use the insight, opinions, and knowledge of our listeners, of our audience, of our followers on social media, and that is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops. And we have some more exciting news coming from Raynin Threes. We have our brand new logo and design coming out within the next couple of days. So look forward to that dropping on our socials. But wow, hey Ray, I'm excited, man. We just had a ton of fun on this Sunday night, my friend.
Yeah, today was good. Got to chop it up, talk some good basketball. It wasn't a lot going on in Nova news, but still got a lot of Nova basketball in today. So I felt good about today and really looking forward to engaging with the fans with their all-time greatest teams list, because this is going to be real interesting.
Most definitely.
A lot of people got a lot of good things to say.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't going to like what we had to say, but hey, you can't please everybody, right? So, hey, with Alan Ray, I am your host, Mike O'Connell. Thank you so much for listening to Raynin Threes. We'll be back again next week with a new episode.
Yep. See you guys. Tune in.
Yes, sir.